everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. As you all know, or as some of you may know, we had to cut our last Sierra Sisters meeting a bit short due to just some health concerns that happened during the course of our meeting. But the person impacted is doing well, and just out of respect for their family, we are going to keep their situation private, but all is well. All is also well with the Sierra sisters. We are moving forward and making sure that we really create and move forward with a strong foundation as we continue the legacy of my mother, our founder, Bridget Hemstead. As you know, this initiative started in 1993. And we did a small tweak to the impact and to the mission statement, but essentially our mission is the same. It's to empower Black women in underserved communities with life-saving breast cancer knowledge and information. Our goal is to break the cycle of fear through education, advocacy, and access to care. We are dedicated to reducing racial disparities and diagnosis and treatment for Black women. A quick breakdown of the agenda where we did a welcome and acknowledgement at the meeting. We did an icebreaker at the meeting, but for the sake of this presentation being delivered to you virtually, it is going to just be the state of Sierra Sisters and our vision for the future, some volunteer updates, and then we have a call to action from University of Washington, which Leah will present a little bit later. All right. So quick overview of Sierra Sisters. Again, our mission and vision is what I just went over, but we want to make sure that our community has access to care, that we are embedded in a part of advocacy in our research efforts, which we are continuously doing and will continue to do. And then there's the education and outreach initiatives, and that's the different programs that we have, along with the community events that we have, and of course, our monthly meetings. Let's talk about the state of Sierra Sisters and our vision. So we are going to continue to really lean into these three pillars. Continue to support our members and community through our monthly meetings, our community events, and supporting our community with cancer and their caretakers. We want to make sure that from a systems perspective, everyone who is impacted by breast cancer is taken care of. And that's not always just the patient, but the people that take care of them and that are around them, right? So these are our caretakers, these are our daughters, our parents, our kids, right? That are also impacted by breast cancer. As Sierra Sisters in the community, we want to make sure that everyone is taken care of and has what they need to move forward and to thrive. And then there's the strengthening our partnerships. We'll continue to work with our medical partners, continue to build our vendor partners, and just as we continue to move forward, make sure that we are with our donors and folks that want to make sure that they understand the vision of Sierra Sisters. The last is raising funds for growth. We want to make sure that our resources for our members are met, as well as staff and support. The last thing that we want to make sure that we introduce to all of you is Bridget's house. So as some of you may know, my mother's home that's located in Skyway, it is going to be turned into the Sierra Sisters house. It's going to be a rest and respite center for women that are going through breast cancer. It'll be a safe space and a safe haven for those women. We can talk about this in future meetings and exactly what that looks like, but the goal is to turn that house into that, the first of its kind. We also need vans to help transport our community and our members from point A to point B. So that looks like if anybody needs to be taken to chemo or to treatment or whatever the case may be, Sierra Sisters can help facilitate that. All right. Our volunteers. So that means we need you. I'm going to pause right there and say, Dee, is there anything that you want to add for that particular point or just before we go into the volunteering?
No, you're doing awesome.
Thanks. All right. So volunteers, whether you're a woman eager to stand with other women or a man who believes in supporting the powerful women in your life, there's a place for you here. There is a need for you here. This guide that I have and we'll move forward with, really lays out our shared values in the many ways that you can lend a loving hand. I want to pause here and just say, we can't do this work without y'all. We need each other. And in a time such as this, where everything is against minorities, women of color, research, cancer research, it is imperative that we lock arms with one another in community to make sure that we are seen, heard, respected, specifically for our care. So, with that, I'm going to jump into volunteers and the things that we need to continue moving forward with this legacy. So we've kind of separated the teams out a bit just from an organizational structure perspective. I think everyone brings different attributes and strengths to the table. And so with that, we want to make sure that as folks are signing up for the different volunteer pods, they're able to be a part of the things that feels natural to them, that they feel comfortable and want and love to do. So a few of the different pods, we've got the admin team. These are the organizers. These are the folks that can jump in a spreadsheet, do checklists, keep track of everyone. The time commitments on each of these pillars are very loose, as this is the first time we're structuring it this way. So these are kind of the guesstimates that we think will be a time commitment, but don't pay too much attention to those, because as we are building this plane and flying it at the same time, we will track and see how many hours does it actually take. And my favorite saying, kind of as we think about hours, is many hands make light work. So it might take a team of two people, 8 hours to do certain things. But if we have a team of 12 people, it might take 45 minutes, right, to do some of the things that we have. Um, the second team that we've got is the welcome team. These are our first smiles. These are the connector sisters. This person loves being chatty. They love to connect with people. They love to make people feel warm and safe. This group of people will greet our new sisters, explain our services, and match them with the right support. They may send encouragement. They may send flowers. And of course, Sierra Sisters will make sure that they have what they need to be able to be the support that they need to the incoming sisters. And then there are our caregiver team. These are our comfort sisters. And what they'd love to do is just, be dependable. Don't mind maybe, hospital hallways. They go in and make sure that, folks are feeling seen at the hospital, being taken care of, different things like that. They may drop off vitamins or, medical supplements and things like that, right? Like as our sisters are going through this fight, I remember with my mom, just sometimes she just needed somebody to pick up her vitamins. Sometimes she just needed some juice or some ice or whatever the case may be. And so this is for those that maybe don't have the family community there, and maybe they need Sierra Sisters. Then there are event sisters. These are the women and the men that love to, thrive. They thrive in teamwork and lively gatherings. They'll help with the run of shows, decorating, setup, breakdown, raffles, online auctions, different things like that as we move throughout the year. Then there's the medical content and media team. These are our storytelling folks. These are the folks that want to curate the story around Sierra Sisters and continue to get the word out and be the evangelists for Sierra Sisters. One other thing I want to go back to really quickly for our comfort sisters. This is really a team where we would love our survivors and even just some of the women that want to give back, that have gone through the journey of chemo or radiation or have been a part of that. This is another space that we'd love to see y'all there. As we bring in new women that are going through breast cancer for the first time and have no idea where to go, who to call, what to do, who to trust, it would be amazing for our women that are seasoned in this fight to help. We know that you are fighting as well, and so make sure that you have what you need to fight. But this is where if somebody needs to pick up the phone call and they're like, "Sis, I've never gone through this before. What do I do?" If you are open, welcome, wanting to be an ear, and give them recommendations or connect them with some of the things that you've gone through, this is where you can really be of service and help and lean in. The last one, just the volunteer support pool. You don't know which one you may want to be a part of, but you know you want to help. This is the sister service. So we would love, and it's flexible if you're just curious and want to just jump into anything. We need all hands on deck to fulfill this mission and this vision. I'm going to make sure that as I send out this deck, you have all the links to volunteer for each of the different pods that you're interested in, that you feel called or led to be a part of. That was a lot. Unfortunately, I can't pause and ask y'all for any questions because this is a solo PowerPoint. But with that being said, please feel free to email me your questions, DM us your questions on Instagram or on Facebook. And that kind of wraps up the session for me. I'm going to now pass it to our dear partner, Leah, to talk about the partnership with the University of Washington.
Thanks, Shayla. Hi, everyone. I am Leah Marcotte. I'm a researcher at UW. I'm also a primary care doctor. And we have been working with Sierra Sisters since 2020 on community engaged research projects and community partnered research projects. Today, we want to talk about a training opportunity to really get meaningfully involved and partner in our research projects. I'm leading this training with Dr. Antoinette McFarlane, who couldn't make it today, but who is a key partner in this work. Next slide. Forgot that I couldn't actually advance. So who we are, Antoinette is on the left of the screen, and she is a research scientist at University of Virginia, and she does qualitative research. And I am on the right of the screen, and again, primary care doctor and researcher at University of Washington. From kind of a positionality perspective, I am a white woman researcher, and so for me, it's really, really important that all of the work that we do in health equity research has very meaningful engagement and really is led by community. So I really see my role as a listener and being able to, I have training and research, and so being able to kind of get the funding and communicate results. But really, this really needs to be community led. Next slide. And so we'll take a short time today to kind of discuss what community research partnerships mean, what we do, give examples of a couple projects we're working on, and then want to talk a little bit about this research training opportunity for Sierra Sisters members. And please contact us if you're at all interested to learn more. And so I want to begin by talking about the importance of community research partnerships. And I can think of no one better to be able to introduce this concept and explain this than Bridget. And so we have a video that's from late last year. And Sheila, if you can play that, thank you. Why are community research partnerships imperative?
It's imperative because bridging the gap between researchers and community is really going to build the trust that has been dismantled over the years. Well, there really wasn't any trust because researchers were doing things to community members, and it just brings back up the memories of Tuskegee. So it's imperative that we build the trust so that better research can serve the community and make a difference in life-saving efforts.
And next slide, please.
Why are community research?
And so next, we also wanted to just highlight the importance of training and support for community members, and a recording of Bridget again.
What support and training do community members need for community research partnerships?
Wonderful. Well, first thing, I think that the institution should offer training on what research is, how it is to be respected, and certificates need to be given out to the community members that go through this training. And this should happen after the researcher has established relationships. So we know that there are institutions that offer that kind of training. So it's imperative that that happens and that is offered to them. So they need to invest in the community so that we can have effective outcomes on the research.
So this is the training that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about training on kind of what research is, how to do research, research methods. There will be certificates of completion, and then projects to then work on after the training. So we'll talk about that more, but we're really kind of fashioning this really with direct direction from Bridget. And I will also say before we move on that Bridget had about 20 years of experience in partnering with researchers. She was formally trained in doing medical research. And so, and she did all of our interviews. She led all of our interviews, all of our focus groups that we did. We do these things called design sessions, and she led those as well. She was involved in all of the analysis after we kind of got data from all of our research, and involved in publications. And so that's kind of our vision for really moving forward with this partnership. Next slide. Thank you. And that brings us to our vision. So we'll have one more short video.
Bridget, what is your vision for research community partnership?
This is a vision and a dream that community research partnerships move to the point to where it will be seamless and effortless when it comes down to having the respect, having that, not being afraid to talk to researchers, and for researchers to come out of their cubbyhole and be comfortable to talk to community members. It should be seamless. And so sometimes it's a hard task that happens, but it's doable. And so I think the future is bright for the partnerships.
And so one of our last conversations, Bridget said to me, if anything critical happens to me, we need to continue to do this work. And so this is really our purpose here, is really continuing this work and following that charge. And so next, I just wanted to give a couple examples of what are the types of research projects that we do, and then move on to the training. So the first project is that we've been really working on since about 2021 is developing this chatbot for breast cancer screening. So chatbots are just kind of these text messages that go back and forth, but that you can interact with. It's artificial intelligence generated, but we use really specific messaging so that it's not messages that are generated by the chatbot. It's actually messages that are generated by community members through this research process. So this may be a little bit blurry on the screen, but this is one of our more recent kind of designs of this chatbot. We're working on getting funding now and kind of building this out and then testing it to see really what people think about it and whether it helps people to support people in breast cancer screening. And specifically what it does is we'll give education around breast cancer screening depending on what people want and need. And then we'll also give a direct scheduling link so people can schedule their mammogram from this text message. And next slide. And so this work has involved a lot of interviews, as I mentioned, focus groups, design sessions, all of which were led by Bridget to date. And we've also really made sure that we want to communicate our results both to the community and to academic settings. And so on the left is a flyer from World Mammography Day in 2022, where we got really great feedback from kind of our early research work. And then on the right is a screenshot of a paper that we published of kind of early work from this project. And you'll notice that Bridget is a co-author on this paper, and we want to continue to make sure that community members are appropriately credited who are working on this with us. And so, you know, we are very we think co-authorship is a really important thing. It was like one of the first conversations that Bridget and I had was she wanted to make sure that there would be co-authorship on papers. And I said, absolutely, without hesitation. And so I just want to highlight that as that crediting as a really important part of this process. Next slide. And second project that we're working on is promoting patient portals for breast cancer screening. So patient portals, some people may be familiar with MyChart, but essentially give the ability for people to log in online, look at their health records, message their healthcare team, and schedule online appointments. And for breast cancer specifically, we found that patient portals that people who are using patient portals are more likely to have completed breast cancer screening. And this makes sense because the patient portals will send people reminders. At least in the state of Washington, you don't need a referral for breast cancer screening to get a mammogram. And so you can just schedule your mammogram through the patient portal. If you're using MyChart, just go onto MyChart and schedule your mammogram. If you're listening to this and you're due for your mammogram and you have MyChart, go and schedule your mammogram right now. But anyway, we've noticed that there's really big inequities in who is using the patient portal. And so our kind of next iteration of this work is to develop community designed outreach to facilitate and to support people to get on patient portals. And then for those people who need extra resources in terms of internet access or just to show how to actually log into the portal, because that process can often be very complicated. You know, we want to give that extra support too. So we have a whole, we have a NIH grant that should have been funded that we may need to find a different funder. As for anyone following the news, probably may not be surprised. But we are dedicated and very much committed to continuing this work. And so that's another opportunity of a project to participate in partnering with us. And next slide. And so let's talk about the training. We have funding to support about 2 to 3 Sierra Sisters members to lead interviews, focus groups, and what I mentioned, design sessions. So really helping to kind of design, if you think back to that chatbot screenshot, what that should look like, design messages that we're sending out, and how those messages should be sent out. And the training we expect probably is going to be 15 to 20 hours. This training will all be compensated. So people will, anyone who's involved in the training will be paid $150 an hour for training. We also, our rates were really set by Bridget. And we think it's incredibly important to make sure that people are compensated at the same rate that a researcher would be, or, you know, at least as close as we can get to that rate. And so we want to make sure that that continues to be something that is really appropriately valuing and compensating people's time. So that rate is also continues on to, if you continue to work and do interviews with us, then that is kind of our going rate for now. We'll probably do this training around late summer or fall. You know, if we have more people interested than we have funding for, we'll kind of talk to the group about what we can do. The one thing we'll ask of people who go through this training is that you have time and are committed to actually doing kind of the interviews and focus groups and actually partnering in the research after the training's completed. So if you can either email me, that's probably the easiest way, but I also am happy to answer by text. You can call me, but just leave a voicemail because I usually don't pick up. I get a lot of spam calls. So just please leave a voicemail if you want to call. All right, and I think the last slide is just more contact information. This is Antoinette's email. You can feel free to contact her as well. And that is what we have for today. Turn it back to you, Sheila.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Leah. Family, community, I look forward to hearing from you. Make sure that you click the sign in sheet. That way we have your information and can get everything to you that is going on with Sierra Sisters. Make sure that you follow us on all socials. Instagram and Facebook. We are Sierra_sisters. And then that's all I have for today. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. I will send the deck out separately as well with just a few small minor tweaks for typos and different things like that. But looking forward to seeing y'all at the next meeting. Thanks.